Elections Canada is responding to the record-breaking number of candidates set to run in the upcoming by-election in Battle River-Crowfoot. Albertans voting in that by-election will now do so using an adapted ballot. Elections Canada says voters must write the name of their preferred candidate in a blank space provided on the new ballots. This system will replace the typical list-style ballot, where voters usually mark in a circle next to the name of the candidate of their choice. The move comes today as 209 candidates are currently set to run in the August by-election, including Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Most of those people are part of the longest ballot committee. It is an electoral reform advocacy group, and one of the people who will be on that ballot against Pierre Poilievre is Mark Moutter. He joins us now. Mark, how are you?
Hi, good, and you?
I am well. So if I look at the last race that was involved here, Carleton, this is an example of the ballot from that race. It's long. You were one of 91 candidates on this ballot in that spring election. For Battle River, I can't even get it assembled here on my desk. There's more than twice as many for the Alberta by-election. So they're switching to this adapted ballot. What is the initiative? What is your group hoping to achieve by doing this again?
We are hoping to get our politicians out of the decision-making process of the way our elections are run. As of right now, our politicians essentially game the system, which is first past the post, in which they decide the rules and they have no motivation to change the system. And we're hoping to change that.
Are you hoping to change by getting to proportional representation, or you're trying to get to what?
There's a lot of different views in the group. I always like saying it's a very decentralized group of people. I personally like proportional representation, and I believe that there are systems that actually play very well with our current system, which allow for an easy adaptation where you can slowly sort of shift towards a more democratic system.
Either way, what you're talking about as a group is electoral reform, and I get that some people will look at it differently. I wonder, though, given what now Elections Canada is doing in making this special ballot where you just write your name in, is it undercutting your protest in some ways?
I don't think so. We've had more than 2 times more people on the ballot than last time during the general federal elections. And the fact that we've had so many people reaching out and wanting to get their names on the ballot is showing that there's actually a record number of people who are interested in the initiative. There's a record number of people who are dissatisfied with our current electoral system. So we're seeing more and more people learning about this.
The Conservative Party leader, Pierre Poilievre, is among some who are criticizing the move, saying it's bad for democracy. He argues it's making it harder for people to vote. Do you see that it could be a source of frustration for voters showing up and potentially facing a list of names like that?
From my personal experience, I wouldn't see it as a form of frustration. Last year, when I participated in the by-elections in Montreal, there were also 90 people on the ballot, and people weren't really frustrated at the ballot box. A lot of people were actually really interested in this, and I had a lot of interesting conversations with people. And I do not think that this actually led to results taking much longer to be tallied up in the end of the night. People were saying prior to the general elections that the long ballot is going to be catastrophic for the time for workers to count the votes. And yet, ironically, it is the ridings where there were really close candidates running together, which weren't impacted by the longest ballot that took the longest to count, of showing how frustrating and how incompetently designed our current system is.
You are running once again against Pierre Poilievre. You did so along with a number of others in your group in Carleton. Now you're doing it in Alberta once again. Is this about him?
This is not about him. This is about politicians as a whole. As a reminder, the previous Liberal government under Justin Trudeau promised us electoral reform and backtracked. So this isn't a question of political parties. This is not a question of Liberals or Conservatives. This is a problem with politicians we're electing directly into government, regardless of party, who have no motivation to change the system.
Pierre Poilievre has complained to the federal government, to Government House Leader Stephen McKinnon, and he has said, this is not democracy in action. It is a deliberate attempt to manipulate the rules, confuse voters, and undermine confidence in our elections. And to that, the federal government, Stephen McKinnon, has responded and said, our government shares the concerns about the longest ballot initiative, and we're currently examining the issue. If the result of that is that there is electoral reform, what you have called for, but that it is different than the electoral reform of the kind you've talked about, that it makes it harder for groups like yours to get on the ballot, makes it harder for everybody to get on the ballot. Will you have been a victim of your own success?
I don't think so. We are going to find ways to keep pushing on the government regardless. What's currently happening is basically a form of patchwork on our broken system. And instead of addressing the really deep systemic issues of our electoral system, we're seeing these really quick fixes, which are very undemocratic. And I believe one of the proposals by the Conservative Party leader, there's an increase in the amount of signatures required to run in any riding. And that would make it basically impossible for independents and novelty candidates to run in a lot of ridings all over Canada. So
So it would,
these
to be clear,
patchworks-
it would raise it from about 100 to, in the average riding, somewhere in the area of 600. You think that's too big a hill to climb, getting 600 signatures in order to run in a federal riding?
Well, the very problem is that the proposal is to become 0.5% of the total population of the riding. So it's incredibly easy in an urban area to go get, let's say, 0.5% when everybody's clumped together in a city. But in ridings like Battle River-Crowfoot, where we've had volunteers going out and gathering signatures for the initiative, which everybody's a volunteer here, it's incredibly challenging. And if we were to increase this from 100 currently to however many is going to be in a lot of rural ridings, that would make it impossible for independents to run. And that is undemocratic.
Mark Moutter, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
That is Mark Moutter, who's part of the longest ballot committee.